If anybody watched the Fever game yesterday, that shit was great. No Caitlyn, no Stephanie White, no Sophia, no problem. Fucking the Chicago Sky.
Did Caitlin Clark just control the whole game without even playing? Did Caitlin Clark just dominate Angel Reese from the bench? You see, when the Indiana Fever crushed the Chicago Sky 79-52, Caitlin Clark was in street clothes with a quad injury.
The Indiana Fever embarrassed the Chicago Sky in Chicago 79-52, and what should have and what would have been a 40-point blowout had we not called the dogs out.
But somehow all eyes were still on her. Not Angel Reese, not the box score, just Clark, laughing, gesturing, and sparking the most viral moment of the night from the bench. That's how you know you've got it. See, this wasn't just another game. This was supposed to be Angel Reese's time to shine with Clark out. No excuses, no distractions.
They got two people they drafted last year. Neither one of them could make layups. Angel Reese was awful again. She's awful again. Camila Cardoso stinks.
But instead of rising, Reese stumbled. And Clark? She rose anyway, from the sideline, with one sharp gesture and a smirk that set social media on fire. Here's the deal. Clark didn't play a single minute, but the loudest reaction of the night, it was her. The second Angel Reese got called for a travel, Clark stood up on the Fever bench, raised her hands, and threw up the travel signal like she was back at Iowa.
That clock is winding down. You got to close out with the hand up. Her hands were down, and Howard knocked it down, and that is a travel.
Reese flags the pivot foot, gives the ball back to Indiana.
You saw it everywhere the next morning. Not the score, not Reese's stats, that one moment from Clark. And guess what? She didn't need a jumper, a logo 3, or a no-look dime. Just that reaction. That's power. That's presence. So the Fever blew the Sky off the court by 27 points, and they did it without their superstar. And it wasn't even close. You could argue Clark's presence lifted her team more than anything happening on the floor. But Angel Reese was awful that night.
But a couple of times Angel drove it and flung up just these wild shots from 3 or 4 feet that missed the rim by, 3 or 4 feet. Just looked so ridiculously awkward, like she'd never even played basketball before.
Clark's out with a quad injury, her first extended absence ever, and somehow she still owned the night, owned the arena, owned the moment. So is Caitlin Clark living rent-free in Angel Reese's head? Or is she just straight up running this rivalry from both ends of the court?
Angel Reese is one of the most embarrassing athletes that we hear about in the news, mostly because her highlights are really low lights. This is someone who's shooting about 30% from the field, where most of her shots are taken from within 5 feet. This is someone who thinks they are so much more important than they actually are, which is why there are so many people that love to laugh when Angel Reese fails. And that's exactly what we saw yesterday.
Come to think of it, this whole rivalry didn't just pop up because of the WNBA. It's been building since that wild night in April 2023. Yeah, the LSU versus Iowa in the NCAA championship. Angel Reese walked off with the title and made sure the whole world saw her taunt Caitlin Clark with that now famous "You can't see me" and ring celebration.
And Angel Reese knows a ring is coming.
Clark didn't respond. She didn't need to. She took the loss, walked off, and said nothing. That was the first crack in what's now the biggest rivalry in women's hoops. But since that moment, Clark hasn't just bounced back. She's owned the rivalry. 6 wins to Reese's 1. That's not a back and forth. That's a takeover. You look at the Elite 8 this year, and Clark got her revenge in full. She dropped 41 points, controlled the game, and sent Reese and LSU packing. No dancing, no taunting, just buckets. That wasn't just a win. That was a statement. She made it clear that title loss wasn't the end of the story. You see, Clark didn't stop at college. She took that same fire to the WNBA and kept applying pressure. 2 matchups so far this season, and both ended the same way with Clark walking out with the win. And in both games, she looked sharper, more composed, more in control. Even when she's not putting up 30, her team flows better, plays faster, and looks like they believe in her leadership. Reese, on the other hand, has struggled to find rhythm, especially against Indiana. Anyway, when people say this rivalry is even, they're not watching the games. The numbers say Clark is leading this thing. The eye test says Clark is leading this thing. And even when she's not in uniform, she's the one trending, the one fans can't stop talking about. That's what makes this different. This isn't about one moment in 2023. This is about everything that's followed. Every time they meet, Clark finds a way to raise the bar, and Reese is still trying to catch up. Clark's a walking bucket, and already the front runner for Rookie of the Year. Reese is still trying to find her footing, struggling with efficiency, getting benched late in games, and now staring down another rough stat line. The rivalry isn't fake. It's not media hype. It's not some TikTok feud. It's real basketball history, real results, real tension, and so far, it's real one-sided. Now, let's talk numbers. When these two first met in the WNBA this year, 2.25 million viewers. Most watched WNBA game in 23 years, not a playoff, not a finals game, just Fever versus Sky. Because Clark and Reese were on the court. Now, even when one's injured, the drama's still there. Clark's reaction from the bench becomes a trending topic. Reese's struggles turn into debate points. This isn't just basketball. It's becoming appointment television. Fans care. Why? Because these two bring something different. Storylines, heat, drama, energy. People are picking sides. People are watching more. People are buying tickets. This is what the WNBA's been waiting for. Clark embraces it. She said the Chicago-Indiana rivalry is perfect because of how close the teams are. She knows what this means for the league. She knows how to lean into it. When you analyze the game, Reese had 4 points in 27 minutes in that blowout. 4. That's not just a bad game, that's a collapse. Every minute she was on the court, the Sky fell further behind.
People watch the WNBA for Angel Reese too. That's why tickets for tonight's game are priced through the roof at $3 each.
Yeesh.
But they still had a game to play. Despite Caitlin Clark not being there, despite the Fever being injured, they absolutely demolished the Chicago Sky. But Angel Reese, she came to play, baby. She came to play. Angel Reese, God. 2 for 7. 2 for 7 for 4 points, minus 20 in the plus minus. One of the worst plus minuses in the WNBA right now.
Reese is known for rebounding, hustle, energy, but she's averaging more rebounds than points. For someone billed as a future face of the league, that's a red flag. And on a night when Clark was missing, she couldn't capitalize.
Angel wound up with a grand total of 4 points on 2 out of 7. Didn't shoot a single free throw. Although she did have 12 rebounds, her average, which does lead the league.
Meanwhile, Clark, not even in uniform, still took over the moment, still went viral, still set the tone. How many rookies in WNBA history can do that? Let's look at the record since that NCAA title game. Clark, 6 wins. Reese, 1 win. That tells you everything. Clark doesn't just win on the court. She wins the story, the fans, the spotlight. She controls every part of this rivalry. She's not just beating Reese, she's defining her.
Because if this is your second most popular player, this is who everybody's talking about. She is the main rival to Caitlin Clark, and yet she sucks this bad when it comes to being a superstar. Is she a good role player? Yes, but as far as superstars go, she's trash.
You saw it all game. Even in street clothes, Clark wasn't checked out. She was up, active, talking, celebrating, pointing. Her energy was real. Her voice was loud. That's not by accident. This isn't a rookie who vanishes when she's hurt. Clark's leading, from the sideline, from the locker room. She's watching the game unfold like a coach, breaking it down, responding in real time, keeping her team locked in. And she's not rushing anything. She made it clear, I'm not going to rush my return. She's thinking long-term, staying smart, but not quiet, not passive. Word is she could be back soon, maybe against Atlanta. That's huge, because if she's doing all this without playing, imagine what she brings when she's fully healthy again. So, if Clark can lead like this when injured, what happens when she's back running the show? Aside from this, there's another layer. The moment these two share a court, the conversations explode. That first game this year, just a common foul. But it turned into a full-blown national talking point.
Rebecca Allen, too strong on a 3. And look out, Caitlin Clark pushes Angel Reese, and Angel Reese gets right up into...
Reese had to be held back after a tough Clark contest. That led to claims of bias, a league investigation into fan behavior, accusations of racism, public statements. It stopped being just basketball. Clark and Reese both spoke up. Clark made it clear, there's no place for that in our game or society. She didn't dodge. She didn't deflect. She called for unity, respect, real leadership. This rivalry isn't just about points. It's about perception, culture, change. And Clark's setting the tone every time she speaks. So here we go again, July 27th. Fever versus Sky, back in Chicago, at the United Center. Last time they played there, Clark didn't suit up, still trended, still stole the headlines, still got the last laugh with that travel call reaction.
My clock is winding down. You got to close out with the hand up. Her hands were down, and Howard knocked it down, and that is a travel.
Reese.
Now imagine when she's healthy. She's starting. She's fired up. What kind of show does she put on in front of Reese on her own floor? No need to wonder if the rivalry is real. It is. But one thing's clear. Clark leads the scoreboard. She leads the reactions. She leads the movement. Watch what happens when Clark returns. So, are we witnessing the rise of the most impactful athlete in modern women's sports? Let us know in the comments. Share, like, and subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching.